No, it lacks the vibrancy. I don't know whether you get the feel the same, or Ugandans are maturing. They know now to do, we are honing our skill in democracy. We don't have to be violent. We don't have to be toxic. We seem to be orderly, so far so good. How do you appreciate the campaigns now?
Personally, I have had prayers to ask God for a peaceful campaign, a peaceful season. And so that's an answered prayer, a confession of an answered prayer. And I think there are many Ugandans out there who are praying that we have peaceful campaigns. The incidents we've just had in Tanzania is nothing we would want to come near our borders. So I don't think the campaign is boring. I think we should be grateful to God that everybody is keeping in their lanes, in their spaces, and we are moving forward like civilized Ugandans. We know what we are doing, and we hope that it keeps that way up to the end. But
would you feel the same, George, from the National Unity Platform side, that everything is good? There was one altercation in Imbarara where I saw your Treasurer General being assaulted by the police officer, but generally it has been good. However, you are an insider. You could be telling us what is really happening on your side.
Of course, at a parliamentary level, we've not had so many incidents from any of our parliamentary candidates, except for these issues with the Electoral Commission, which we've legally taken exception of. But at a presidential level, of course, we've had incidents. The Imbarara altercation was just one of in a pattern of incidents. They started with the blockages of roads, where the police deliberately lead you to the farthest road in order to frustrate you reaching the rally venue on time. You know, campaigns end at 6 p.m. Then they started with the arrests for all sorts of reasons. I think the arrest started with Ndira, where over 17 of our people were charged and arrested and charged. Then they continued. You remember the Chiruhura incident? So our candidate has missed about 4 rally events as a result of those incidents. He missed Iganga because of the police blockage. He missed Chiruhura because of those pastoralists who were dressed in yellow uniform but holding sticks. And in the presence of police, they stopped him from having the rally. They even confiscated the equipment.
So when something like that happens, do you petition the Electoral Commission? And what are they telling you?
Of course, we've not had formal responses to all because even for purposes of a record, we've documented these incidents, and we've, just like the law says, petitioned EC for purposes of making the complaint on record, because the EC, under the Act, has a mandate to handle all election-related complaints as a tribunal first instance. So Chiruhura, we went to Mbarara, which you all saw what happened, and then even yesterday there was an incident in Arua, where about 32 of our supporters were arrested. Actually, not about 32 of our supporters were arrested. So in Mbarara, 89 people were arrested and then charged in different courts, of course, to try to stretch us. Some were taken to Abim, then others Liantonde, then others Chiruhura, then others Lira, for purposes of stretching not only the legal team but also the support team. So given that an election is a process, all these things have a build-up on the process. Okay. So the president right. Had those instances.
You made your point, George. Thank you very much. Mr. Sinkatongole, you know, in Rubaga, where you're standing, as Rubaga North, I suppose, quite a number of people are running for the same. There's an enthusiasm for the parliamentary seat. What is the driving factor? That the numbers are huge. You find 8, 10, 11?
We are 10.
Okay. That's quite 10. Big.
Me, I believe the biggest driving factor for big numbers to turn up is the weakness of the incumbent. When people see weaknesses in the incumbent, everybody thinks we can manage him.
So that's why we have 8 presidential candidates? Is that what you're telling us?
No. Look, what the presidential candidates, 8 are few compared to the people who are
but
invested.
8 is a big number, and yes. I'm trying to use your own, your own analysis.
Talking of in constituencies.
I hear you, Katongo.
Yes. So that is one factor which I think brings in a lot of people. Then another factor is we have now got several political parties in Uganda. and each political party is fronting candidates. They want to be visible, and they want to catch a share wherever possible they can.
So tell me, what is the game plan is? Of course, perhaps you'll not tell the rest of the viewers because perhaps that's your card if it is you're holding on your chest and that's your secret. But last time there was something called the Noop wave, and the red wave just came and swept Kampala. How are you going to do this so that the wave does not bury you, that maybe you can ride on that wave and go to Parliament?
It was not only in Kampala, in mostly Buganda.
That's true.
That Noop wave was in Buganda. And I'm personally happy that the wave happened and people saw the facts, the lies, and the truth in that wave. And I think it was a wave like COVID. It came, it had its trends, and the fever has calmed down. It is not, if you look at that wave fever, it's no longer there.
You know, you have tried to join the Central Executive Committee of the NRM, which is the highest
tried,
organ.
I was there.
You know, I'm talking about this time around.
Yes.
But you came short. What makes you think that after your colleagues at the highest level have thought about you and you're like, you know, you can't sit here? Why would Rubaga entertain you?
I think that SEC issue of NRM is more complicated than what you're saying. We all know what transpired. We should have another day to chat over that. And Rubaga North and the Central Executive Committee of NRM are two different organizations and two different platforms. Definitely, Rubaga North platform, I am still NRM. I have served NRM on the Central Executive Committee for more than 3 terms. I was out from 2016, I came back in 2020. Even this time I'm out. Next 5 years, I may be back there.
I think you should be mindful about what you talk at the top organ of the party, yeah, and what happens there. If it is toxic at the head, they wonder what it is at the bottom. But Mary Kamuli Kuteisa, you are new in the contestation for politics, yes, and at the parliamentary level, and you have taken on a constituency. You have not gone for the affirmative action kind of positions. As a first-timer, you are bold.
Yeah, I am born bold. I am born bold. I like to break barriers. I like to compete in worthy competitions because I have the confidence that I am not any less than any man that is competing out there for the same place. By the way, if I use the example of my constituency, it is much more easier to deal with a constituency seat than to deal with the affirmative action seat, because the affirmative action seat has 3 constituencies. You go the entire district. The constituency seat is a third of the affirmative action seat. So women actually do much more work, but they are afraid, for some reason I don't know, to go in a full throttle competition with men. And I thought this is an opportunity as well to break the barriers. The seat in Chenjojo is called Entebbe Eyabasaija. The constituency seat is called Entebbe Eyabasaija. But I think now that has been kind of washed and put aside, because every time they refer to it as Entebbe Eyabasaija, I said, hello, I am here. I'm not a man. It's for all of us. And in the primaries, I think I had the competition with 5 gentlemen. And so
here you are.
Here I am. I have the flag. I now have another 3 men, 1 independent, 1 Noop, 1 FDC, and I know that I'll be back as the MP.
But when you are, I want to ask this question to all of you. When you are competing and you're contesting for power, you're basing sometimes on your manifestos. I wonder whether the people whom you want to give the mandate to lead really take time to read these manifestos, to internalize them, to understand them, and whether the people, we can say, they still have the power.
Starting with me?
Yes.
I believe that people are reading our content. Ugandans are not very good readers of books, but they appreciate the content. So there's a difference between reading, that many might not read, and actually many of them may not be literate, but they appreciate content. So I'm very, very sure that the reasons people are voting for Tesa and not any other person is because they have listened to the content, whether orally given or in writing. They are listening and taking the content and internalizing who of these candidates is likely to deliver a service to the people.
You see, even if you came with some good content, and many are, and perhaps because you are in a heavily yellow sea, that other parties will struggle. So in some cases, people have already taken decisions depending on other issues, not necessarily because of what you have written, considering where you're coming from.
Yes, we are yellow, and that's very, very true. Perhaps everybody coming into the competition in the primaries is yellow. And even now, I think maybe the two candidates are basically yellow. Because one of the independents was actually the one doing mobilization in the entire region. Then he suddenly came up as an independent. The other has always been yellow. It's just suddenly become red for some reason. So they are yellow. But the fact that you're almost all of you yellow, the people are still going to decide based on the capacity of the person as opposed to the color, because the color question is already predetermined. You're all yellow.
So, George, Mary is saying, yes, they are appreciating the content. Yes, in some extent they are reading. When you're having a contract you want to sign with the people of Kira municipality, how many of the people whom you think are going to vote for you will actually have read your manifesto, understood it, and if you go on a campaign trail, they'll be asking you questions based on what you want to do for them, what you have written down? Because it looks like some people say, no, this is a red corner, and we're going red, and that's it.
I want to, from my experience, and even from looking not just at Kira municipality, so many parts of Uganda, especially around Kampala, we are largely a polarized society that is either black or white. And many times, people, the biggest majority of the people won't vote a candidate based on what the person is preaching. Because we are polarized, someone will be polarized either along political lines, that I'm voting NUP, or I'm voting NRM, or I'm voting for any other party, irrespective of which candidate or what the candidate presents. Of course, in any case, under multipartyism, if a candidate is running under a party ticket, what they are presenting is largely what the party is presenting as a manifesto, and then you extricate what the issues for that particular constituency are. However, there is a small group of people, indeed, who are interested in what are the competences of each person. Those ones may be either people who tend to think they are political, they may not be aligned either to any political party, or even some may be aligned to parties but voting different candidates. But those make up lesser of the majority. There are societies or communities which vote. There are others who vote along religious lines. There are others who vote along the other incentives. For instance, of course not in Chira, but in other areas where the people vote because the person has given a monetary token. We had it in the last elections, including the NRM primaries, where people are saying this person spent 1 billion, this person spent...
The truth is, in every constituency, people spend money.
Yes.
And even yourself, George, you'll send money.
Yes, the question is what the money is spent on.
But the money is spent. In some cases, maybe you're outspent, and then you say, you know what, they use the money. But if you had it too,
I'm talking about scenarios. In 2017, I participated in an election, not as a candidate, but as a campaigning agent for someone who was running. My colleague Benjamin Katana, whom you know very well, was running in Igara. waste. And indeed, I saw people, money exchanging hands at polling stations, 2,000 shillings, people being paid in exchange for the vote. So there are scenarios like that, where indeed money is spent to influence the voting patterns. So in a nutshell, there are very many people who don't vote according to what the candidate is presenting or what the manifesto is, but along either political lines or otherwise. But there's still a smaller group of people, and I think those make up a smaller part of the voting majority, who vote basing on what has this candidate presented.
Okay, Mr. Singh Katongole, today we seem to see that there's lack of vibrancy in the election, even at the parliamentary level. You know, back in the day, you'd see the Kadodi drums everywhere, and people would be doing their thing. But now, is there some kind of fatigue among the people, and what is that likely to imply on the polling day?
No, me, I think it is healthy. The Electoral Commission has put up some organization, sat with the candidates. I'll give you an example of my own constituency. We are 10 candidates. I have 5 parishes. They called us for the consultative meeting, and they have divided each parish into 2. Half the parish A, block A of the parish is candidate A, the other side is candidate B. So each candidates are in their own. And there are clear instructions from security. They are not allowing all these, trails. Go where you are supposed to campaign, have your rally there, end it there, and go home.
But even though you were to go in one parish, back in the day, you'd have an army of Vuvuzela blowing boys and yes, on the Kadodi girls and boys. Definitely. And all that is not in this space now. And I'm wondering, why is it? Is it the money? Is it the fatigue? Are we like, is our democracy evolving and people are holding their skill differently?
No, definitely. Like I said, even Electoral Commission has tried to put some sanity and talk to the candidates, and even security has said, yes, some of these are not going to be allowed, which is very healthy. It is avoiding clashes. It is avoiding too much unnecessary excitement in areas where you're not even supposed to campaign. Those days, we would go to Ntinda to nominate, and the whole Kampala would be blocked. This time you're only allowed with 2 cars. From there, even police says, follow Northern Bypass, go to Rubaga, the nearest road to your constituency. So I think it is very healthy and good for the country, not wastage of resources. And I think the public is not inconvenienced. Okay. Because those days would inconvenience even people who are not concerned sometimes in your constituency.
Mary, I have seen quite a big number of independent candidates, sometimes NRM leaning or even other parties. Why do we seem to have more independents now? In fact, even now we're getting people who are being declared unopposed. What is making people go independent? Is it the problem of your primaries? Or it is a problem with our democracy as young?
I think it is both. One is our primaries themselves are young. This whole debate of a competition at primary level is very young politically here in this country. And it's only NRM actually which has so far succeeded in taking the baby steps.
Is that what you call success, Mary?
Absolutely.
It was shambolic, by the way.
It was,
because
but
there was
happened.
violence, there was death in Zimbabwe, there was destruction of vehicles in Isingiro and Mubende.
Patrick,
how would you call that success?
Democracy happened. People went and decided which candidate they would like the party to fund. That's success. In other parties, and I won't point finger to my neighbor,
you can.
That didn't happen.
You can.
That didn't happen. So I call that success, because when a baby is beginning to walk, they will fall. They'll get injuries. But they start, they don't stop.
Those are baby steps.
Those are baby steps, which are going somewhere. So the next will be cleaner, the next will be cleaner. And I think out of this,
I don't think, Mary, that is very convincing, because if it was going to be cleaner, at least we should have seen at the apex of the party, at the Central Executive Committee level, things are more sane, they're more organized, and more credible. But even then, that would never happened.
Well, how many executives have had an election in this country? So understand that every beginning is difficult. But the good news is NRM had that beginning and is going to clean, because I'm sure we have taken, account of what went wrong. And there is treatment going to be.
So are your baby steps and the teething problems are going to last 40 years?
So those, no. 40 years is when the resistance party came and took power. When did the party elections begin?
When was the party
did the party primaries begin? Yes. So that's a totally different issue.
20 years ago.
That's a totally different issue. It is easy for you to say 20 years, but how long is it going to take? You have also been here for 10 years. You are not able to do at least what NRM did. So it is, in my view, an excellent step. Mistakes happen, are corrected. So those, some of them could be what,
and the percentage of those incidents compared was very low.
That's why you're seeing some independence.
Judge, even yourselves, you actually, there are no primaries to talk about even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is even worse.
Exactly.
And there are a lot
I disagree with that.
Yeah, but there are no primaries, were there?
What are primaries? You think
where people can, in a free and democratic way, elect those who are going to carry the flag in an election.
Now, Patrick, what we call primaries, I think you are mistaking universal adult suffrage with primaries. You think the two are interchangeably used. Indeed, democracy doesn't only happen with universal adult suffrage.
You cannot be absolutely sure, with all respect, George, that you are the choice of the people of Kira municipality to carry the flag of NUP.
Who is sure?
When the people of Kira municipality did not make that decision.
Now, you cannot be sure.
Let me.
There are still people there who are like, no, this system did not give us the right flag bearer.
Okay, let me ask you.
Even though you try to defend your system.
No, I'm not trying to defend it. Actually, if you want to learn, you can use it at a comparative experiences. There are parties in better democracies like Ghana where they even appoint. They don't even have parties appoint. Yes, that is the truth. Where they don't have to say that our candidate in Mwenge is this one. Multipartyism works in different facets. Conversely, how can you be sure that Mary is the rightful person when they didn't come through an election, quote unquote, which doesn't even meet the minimum standards of an election, which is a secret ballot? How can you be sure that you? No, I'm not talking about you as an individual. I'm just making use of an example of the NRM style. The issue is, democracy has very many facets, and as long as there are minimum standards that have been agreed upon, that's why you find a country where a candidate has got more popular votes, like Hillary Clinton, yet she's the loser in an election where she got more popular votes than the person who has been declared the winner, if you have to look at it in terms of that. But the bigger point is, I don't agree with Mary that indeed NRM elections or primaries, if we talk about them, are anything to learn from, or they are getting better compared to 20 years ago. In fact, if you are to compare 20 years ago, maybe they are getting shabbier, because they even moved away from the secret ballot and they went into the open style voting, which open style voting has brought all sorts of issues that one person was wondering, how can open style voting take 2 days without getting to know the winner in an election where people have lined up behind their backs? But then again, we've seen what made those elections, what if you have to call them elections. And then if you have to compare it with even the higher, in the higher bodies like the SEC, where Honorable Singh was competing, where even their vice chairpersons, we are saying 3 vice chairpersons, Honorable Mukula, former Rebecca Kadaga, Chris Bariomusi, all saying we've never seen something like this, where money is the determinant of each and every decision. So are you saying that a process where money is the key determinant of is a democratic process, or we are just going through a process? Because even if you're talking about free and fair elections, there are minimum standards. Yes, for us, we don't use elections. We don't use elections. They have chosen to go by elections.
But let me ask you, let me get to know about this money. The money we talk about, is a candidate pushing money down the throats of people, or you find people also asking you, how have you left us?
The two are wrong. The two things are wrong. In fact, the laws which govern elections, they make both the receiver and the giver culpable. But the two incidents are wrong.
Patrick, let's talk about Nick. I voted in Nick.
Okay.
I chose my leader. Nobody paid me. There is no better democracy. Actually, I don't support that people should line up. I think that's going a bit because of monetary and resource limitations. But there can't be a better democracy than you are looking at me and I can look at you and I say you are my choice. That happened. Let's give it credit. At NEC and at all primary levels. For you to be on the same village and somebody comes and lines up behind you and not the other person, it can't be better.
I think that is really true to bring out the right person, because there's an equal power relations on a village. I work for the village chief. I am an employee, but I know the guy is a loser. How am I going to go against?
Actually,
those are some of the disadvantages that NRM needs to look at, and we find treatment for it. Because this is the same village.
You can even be somebody's spouse. You can even be somebody's spouse, but it doesn't think you're a good leader. And if it comes to line up, because of an equal power relation, I'll fall in the line, not necessarily because it was my choice.
Well, people actually fall in lines of different persons, and that's why their choice. But my point is, it is so much better than the rest of the parties. It is not the best. It has its errors, but it is so far ahead of the rest of the parties and how they got
where things are done closed doors.
Exactly.
So Mr. Singh Katongole, the last time we were here, you actually said no to giving money to, money in the elections, donating and stuff like that. And I wonder what it is like, whether that alone, if you were assuming you're telling me the truth, that you're not giving out money, I wonder how it is moving your side in Rubaga.
Definitely, I don't believe winning an election using money, because there is never enough money in an election. The money I use is just to facilitate the process moving, like my own movement, my equipment's movement, my campaign team's movement. But I have never participated in physically giving out any money, because it becomes even very embarrassing, like you see in some candidates in lines. It's a very big offense. How are you counting money at a polling station, giving somebody money? Cameras are taking you. Tomorrow you're going to be in courts of law, lose a winning battle. For what? And I don't believe my people are a commodity that I buy them. Definitely, I have to convince them, tell them how we are going to work together, how I am going to represent them. I won in 2010. It was a very tough election, but it is on record. I won Rubaga North. I was in Parliament for 1 year. It is the courts which did what they did.
Honorable Singh Katongole, Mr. George Musisi, and Madam Mary Kamuli Kutesa. We are going to take a break. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amar. My guests tonight are Honorable Singh Katongole, Mr. George Musisi, and Mary Kamuli Kutesa. And if I could begin with you here, you heard from George. He's talking about their candidate, their supporters have been arrested in big numbers, scattered all over, different areas to stretch them resource ways or maybe disorganize them. But even before that, Mary, some people could be beaten to pulp. Others have actually died. Others have been made to disappear. When things like this happen in an election like this, it's really a scar on the conscience of the nation, isn't it?
Patrick, I'm a lawyer. I don't affirm facts without evidence. And so I totally have no evidence of those that have disappeared. If they are there, at least I'm not aware. And in this country, we have laws. If somebody has disappeared, you go to court and ask for a production warrant. They'll bring them. I think the most important thing that this country needs really to have at the fingertips is discipline. When people get into crowds, it's as if some motion comes in and you don't remember there is a law, you don't remember there is an officer enforcing a law, and you don't remember you have been told don't exceed the line. I think that should be respected. I mean, I have seen people attacking police officers who is holding an AK-47 and someone just grabs them barehanded. What are you asking this police officer to do? So let's know our limits as Ugandans. Let's keep our discipline. Let's be tolerant and respect each other's lines. That's very important.
You're nodding your head, George. Good enough on this panel. Mary is not the only lawyer.
Yeah, Mary, of course, has only seen people attacking armed people. I don't know whether she has also seen armed people brutalizing civilians and armed people. If she hasn't, then she has seen on the one side of news. I've lived in this country where we have actually 18 missing persons from the last election who had just disappeared. Some of them were owned up by government on different instances, sometimes even formally, where a minister laid before parliament that is in government custody, and they have never been seen again. Some were arrested with other people who were released. We went to court, indeed, like you've said. Court said that, well, you've not produced evidence to show that this is in government custody. But if people in civilian clothes take me off the street, like it's the trend now, where people in unmarked cars, civilian wear, but armed to the teeth, take civilians in unknown places. How would I prove that where they are, save for government having a duty?
The car would have a number plate.
Mary.
Yeah, but then what do you expect court to do?
Well,
if you can't produce evidence,
Mary,
let me refresh your mind, Mary. Perhaps you have heard this or maybe read about it. The case of the two Kenyans who were arrested, I think at the campaign rally of National Unity Platform, and all the spokesperson of the NRM government that is in power said, no, we don't have them. We don't have
Patrick,
them.
leave out a spokesperson. Yeah. A senior military official saw an affidavit in court. Mary knows what an affidavit is, which is evidence on oath, saying, I've talked to the IGP, I've talked to the CDF, these people are not in any government facility. And it's on oath, which is an offense, as you know, perjury. It's lying on oath. And then government came up and said, no, we have them, actually we've had them. And court dismissed the case, the habeas corpus application, saying, you've not proven that these people are in government custody. Anyway, government, the state, has a duty to account for anyone, Mary. Even if that person was in the hands of mafias, government would say, we are investigating and we are looking for these persons. I don't think any government should say, Patrick was here, he's nowhere to be seen, and the government says we don't know where he is. They should set list that we suspect he was kidnapped and we are looking for him.
So Mr. Katongole, assuming the case of the Kenyan activists who were arrested and then the government said we don't know them, but thank God they were later recovered, and the Fountain of Honor said actually we had them in a fridge. I mean, that, because there was pressure at a high level for them to maybe to be brought. How about if it was just any other guy from Kanungu and you have disagreed with Katongole, senior NRM guy, you could totally disappear?
Patrick, you see, I always believe why out of the mobs only a few are picked? Why are some few distracted? Security is not stupid also. Security gets counterintelligence ahead of time. Security gets information. In this group, there is A who is told to do B. In a population, in a rally of 100,000 people, why do they pick the particular 5? It's not out of nowhere. So, definitely, both sides may have some blames, but security's role is to see discipline, law and order is maintained. If there is anybody whom the security gets information may provoke or may destabilize, they have the authority to.
5 years ago this month, there was bloodbath on the streets of Kampala. Some people say 100 people were shot. It's not like somebody throwing stones and the stones are killing them. Shot. People who have exclusive authority to use the instruments of coercion are military and police. So yes, they were shot.
What were the incidents?
Let me make a comment here.
People were stoning every car passing.
Let's appreciate that this country is where it is in this region because of those uniformed men, that they have done an excellent job. That's why Uganda is not producing refugees, but Uganda is hosting refugees. Let us understand that there is a noble role the security men in this country have played.
That doesn't answer the question.
The right intelligence and the right intervention at the right time.
The question
That's why we all go to our beds and can sleep.
The question is, and to mix up your issue with one of Honorable Singh, it doesn't matter. No one is arguing about the roles of security. The point is, our law, our constitution, if we still believe in it, doesn't put security above it. All the security, all the intelligence should be done in accordance with the law. So you shouldn't say that because they've played a very noble role, so they can disappear a few 10.
Well,
are you saying that?
Is that
your
but
argument?
if somebody is a threat...
If he's a threat, it's treated according to the law.
Definitely.
That's what he's saying.
They pick him, isolate him.
Oh, and keep him in a safe house for 10 years. That's the point.
That is...
I hope the people of Uganda know
we have
question
different
of evidence.
security organizations.
Well,
it's a question of evidence. Let's not just talk about it. If you have the evidence, court has asked you for it.
Well, can I give you evidence? Public evidence?
I said court. I am not the organ of government.
I'm not here to go to court. I'm telling you things which are in public information. You are the only one who doesn't know that. The incident Patrick is quoting, there was a government report which said 54 people were shot by stray bullets. It was a government report. It's a government report. It's public information. The people who are missing, it's public information because it's even a court case, it's been in parliament reports.
And I have said that in this country, just as the Constitution has laid them out, they are institutions or government institutions that are responsible for finding the missing, for looking for those that are missing, for investigating those that are missing. Can they do their work?
And if they have failed, like in this case, what would you tell a mother who is been missing, or looking for, or a wife looking for a husband who has disappeared? They reported to Human Rights Commission. Human Rights Commission said we've reached an end. They have gone to court. These are people living in this country.
It is a wrong assumption to assume that everybody who has disappeared has been taken by the government. There are people who disappear deep down in my village when it's not even political season.
The point is, government has a duty to account. That's the point.
So,
simple as that.
Okay.
Government has a duty.
The only good thing this time around, even though there are episodes that are ugly, the spikes of incidences that are not good, at least we can say we are better off than 5 years ago.
Thank you. Yeah.
And we pray we don't go back. Assuming Mary's prayer is being listened to to the supernatural, we pray it continues like that. But could this also be the calmness before the storm?
Certainly we have not yet peaked. The peak of the campaigns is still ahead. And for me, my appeal is that let's remain calm. Why are we even anticipating the storm? If we have moved this peacefully thus far, why can't we move peacefully up to the end? Let everybody keep their lanes, and we should be safe. And for me, that is so important, because there is no life that is less important. There's no vote that is more important than a life. Life is above everything. It is life. So if we can all keep our lanes and make sure every life is safeguarded up to the end of the election.
You know, you can win the election and you're declared, legally you're the winner, but probably you're not, you know, you don't have the legitimacy, but you have the legal, you know what I mean? So the people are saying, you know what, your thing was shambolic. Yes, like we can point to some places in the region, but legally they are leaders, but are they legitimate?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yes,
so you have to watch out for that.
Absolutely.
Because you could win, but then lose the legitimacy to lead.
And we are hoping that that should not happen, and don't anticipate the storm. Let's hope everybody will keep calm.
So, George, if you are missing in 40% of Uganda's constituencies to field even your members of parliament, you have no one to vouch for you, you have no one campaigning for the constituency or even for the party president, isn't it lost at the very beginning?
No.
With all respect.
No, it depends on how you're looking at it. And
you filled,
missing in 40.
You filled candidates in only 60%.
And you're talking about NUP.
Yes, National Unity Platform.
Yeah, but
yes.
the other parties, not so. Secondly,
or the Mabirizi and all these groups.
well, the other parties.
If you've chosen to, each supposed to make half.
You've chosen,
no, I'm trying to remember his party, but I know his name. But I'm forgetting
to look at the other parties,
the Conservative Party, the Conservative Party, to be.
No, but the bigger point is that, for instance, the UPC has fielded in some constituencies where NUP doesn't have, FDC has fielded in some constituencies where NUP doesn't have.
So are you working in a coalition?
No, it's not a coalition. I'm telling you that in multipartism, you don't have to, you know, Patrick, you are caught up in this NRM's thing of numbers. If you're not
no, politics is a game of numbers.
Let me tell you, listen. There are numbers which matter. For instance, if you're talking about politics as a game of numbers, and I can give you an example from the last election, where our presidential candidate won in 9 out of the 11 districts which make up Busoga sub-region. In terms of the figures, yes, that is the truth, Mary. And we have only one MP from the region.
No, I think the question is you are working out of 60%,
Mary,
yet you had an opportunity to work out of 100%.
Mary, the point is, I got the question from a moderator. Let me give my answer. You can give your opinion. I'm giving an example, a factual example, that in Busoga sub-region, our presidential candidate won. In terms of, so why I told you that you are caught up in the game of numbers, that what explains that we have one member of parliament from the region, yet your presidential candidate who has more MPs was beaten in the region. Do you get that point? No. So the simple point is that it doesn't necessarily match that presidential results match.
So George, is it by design that you are absent in 40%?
No, it's not by design.
Or it is by limitation?
It's by certain limitations.
Yes.
Yes.
So
however, the point is,
thank you very much. You are recognizing the fact that you're limited.
It shouldn't have a direct correlation that presidential results necessarily match MP results. Otherwise, why would NRM be fielding in Buganda where it lost? Are you saying that it has already lost the game? Where it's fielding candidates where it didn't even get, it didn't win all the districts. So it doesn't necessarily match that presidential results follow number of candidates for MPs.
I think it does, because you will need your campaign agents, you'll need somebody to vote for you. It's a whole structure. So you have no structure in 40% of the nation.
Yes. So how do you expect to win the candidature?
Yeah, it is a monumental challenge for you, I suppose.
So what explains, for instance, the example I've given you in Busoga sub-regions, what explains the win of the presidential results, if that was necessarily followed candidates? The point is, even in regions, indeed.
But if you look at Chagulanyi never stood only in Busoga, he went everywhere else.
Yes, I'm saying, why are you dismissing the example I've given? That what explains that?
Okay.
No, why didn't he?
Patrick, anyway, allow me to say this.
Why couldn't he replicate
you have
the same?
A chance to answer.
Allow me to say this. That for any party to be successful, you need the structure that is countrywide.
Successful in what?
Successful.
In what?
In everything.
Everything.
Any party to be successful, you need a structure throughout the country. This is where NRM has got the game right.
It's simple mathematics.
100%
Somebody is
right.
leading you already by 40%. The 60% you are going to divide.
NRM
Then if you divide it 20,
So where
has
is
the other
a
one is still leading
structure
you.
where is
at
Singh getting his
every
40%?
village, every single village in this country, NRM has got a team of 37 people
That is
at a
simply
village
rhetoric.
level.
That is simple rhetoric.
Which is not
Mary.
rhetoric. You see, you keep arguing down up here when down NRM has covered this ground. And so you're going to stand up and start questioning the results. But each of the 37
But you also have to know,
village,
Mary, that
village,
you have made it very difficult for noob foot soldiers to even go and open offices in different places, sometimes even if they would want. In some cases, the NRM,
Patrick,
that is views with the government, has made it impossible in some cases for them to go even recruit or open an office. That's another fact.
I think that is their weakness, not that NRM has made
be
it
fair.
impossible.
You're not playing fair.
This is a democratic country. There is free rent and of spaces. You can rent space anywhere. Nobody has stopped them. You can recruit anywhere. Nobody has stopped them. The capacity they don't have. And that's the game change that any party that needs to compete with NRM needs to pull up their socks on.
Patrick,
because NRM's structure will now deliver a win that has never been seen before. Because in this election, NRM went to every level, identified 37 people who make a village committee all the way up to NEC. Now, each of those 37 people at village level is a campaigning agent, is a recruiting agent.
So George, how do you respond to 37 people in every village, 72,000 villages, if they were to vote? I suppose they could, and maybe with their families. Isn't that a game
We are recruiting, each of the 37 is recruiting 10.
Mary needs to learn to listen. Let me give you an example of numbers. Kira municipality has over 200,000 voters. I'm sure in the place where Mary comes from, there's not a single district within 80,000. Chireka parish alone has over 80,000 voters. So the point of Nasara municipality has 320,000 voters. No, Nasara, Busiro East. Nasara has over 280,000 registered voters.
Yes.
Which can make up over 10 districts that this percentage.
Yeah, but one thing I have to tell you, you have to remember, even though Nup carried Busoga, there was a difference of 40,000 votes. Even though you carried here Kampala and Kiso,
no.
Yeah, I don't think that because the NRM will come strong second, and yet when you go in other places, you are a distant second.
Well, I'm trying to give you a game of numbers. But then again, I strongly think that we are going to put up a much better, because we have fielded candidates, because this is a progress. NOP leadership came into the leadership of NOP 5 years ago. Mary was saying 10. 5 years ago.
This is your 10th year.
No.
You're running
NOP started in 2010, 2020. That's when we went into leadership. 2020. Okay. This is 2025, Mary. I know NOP more than you, I think. So the NOP even came into opposition leadership 5 years ago, but that is not an excuse. The point is that are we where we were? Mary here was comparing themselves of 20 years ago, saying we've made progress in our primaries over a 20-year period. Why don't you?
5 years are ending.
And I'm telling you that if you're to listen, the point I'm making is that, for instance, if you look at the number of candidates we fielded in 2020 and we fielded today, there are many more candidates than we did. So if you're to look at it in terms of progression, indeed we are better, in a better place than we were 5 years ago. Now, of course, you are comparing us with an entrenched, militarized party who have no limits between their resources and the resources of the state.
No, that is not true.
That is my opinion.
No, that
you
is
can
your
give
opinion,
yours.
but that's not true. Let's not mislead the...
who have no distinction between the resources and the resources of the state, who, if you are going to some of those districts you're talking about, for instance, some of the people have been stopping our opposition candidate, indeed even opening offices, are people who are not necessarily NRM officials. The state apparatus, for instance, the RDCs, look at themselves as appendages of the ruling party. The security agencies sometimes see themselves as an armed wing of the ruling party. So you're looking at that party, that fossilized party, and comparing it with, saying that, oh, how comes they're not having a coverage of 100%? Actually, multipartyism, if you look at, for instance, in our neighbors, Kenya, who I think are running a better multi-party system than ours, there are even parties which are regional. There are parties which come think that.
Okay.
So it's the issue of what is the essence. What is the ultimate essence?
Okay.
Is to look at the...
Gentlemen and lady, I don't want to start a conversation on Thursday and end it on Friday. So let me look at your concluding remarks. What's going to be your parting shot, Singh?
What is?
Your concluding remark.
My concluding remark is, I wish the people of Uganda continue with the same spirit we have started with, peaceful election, and listen to the leaders, avoid leaders who are bringing youth to fights, making the youth toxic and causing violence. Let's listen to the right candidates and vote for material which is going to bring progress and development in your constituencies. And like my party NRM has already won by 40%, we are going to divide the 60%. So definitely my president is the next president of Uganda. So the constituencies should also give him strength of the arms to work with him and to develop our country.
I thought you were going to make an elevator pitch for yourself for Rubaga, but you didn't. George Musisi, your parting shot.
Well, for me, it's just to call on the institutions which are mandated to deliver a peaceful election, credible election, especially the Electoral Commission, security agencies, to act within the law. We are not asking for too much, Patrick. To act within the law. The Electoral Commission is the key player when it comes to organizing and management of elections. We've had tests on its credibility in terms of how it has handled some of the issues that have arisen in the past. And sometimes perceptions matter, especially in politics. So it's important that if they are to salvage what is left of a credible and free, fair election in this country, they just have to act within the law.
Thank you very much, George. Mary, your concluding remark.
The strongest message that our candidate, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is putting out to Ugandans is household incomes. Each Ugandan to participate in building a business for their income. Each Ugandan to participate in production in this country. That is the message I would like to leave with every Ugandan today. You might not like President Museveni, you might even be nope. But what he is sending is each one of us, whether NOOP, whether FTC, whether NRM, engage in production. Our country has huge resources, the land resource, it is not yet utilized. Let's engage in production such that we can build our country and our country's base, because we're bringing in something into the basket. That's a message for all of us. So do something that makes you participate in the money economy. And that message I also send to my people of Chenjojo. Let's use that fertile land we have to make money. Thank you. Mary
Kamuli Kutesa, MP aspirant for Mwenge South. Thank you very much. George Musisi, MP aspirant from the National Unity Platform for Kira Municipality. Thank you. And Singh Katongole, running the race for Rubaga North Member of Parliament. Thank you.